Yo, what is up, guys? It's the Nightwing at Way of Life Esports coming at you guys with another League of Legends video here today. This is actually going to be a special episode of the C9FanCast because I had to kind of restructure how the episodes look because there were some episodes that I put out for my main channel that I don't think really synced up with goes on with this channel, so I had to remove them. I had to restructure it. So this is actually season 1 episode 13. So if you guys know about like DC, Marvel, Star Wars continuities with like comic book issues, World of Warcraft, you get rebooted sometimes. But this is not really a reboot, this is more like a retcon. And the title of the video will obviously bring what we're going to talk about because I've had people DM me. If you have me like a friend on Facebook, I've had people from the C9 group DM me and they're like, hey man, could you talk about the LS situation? And I talked about it actually in my recent video where I ranted pretty hard. Actually, I'm glad I didn't have comments because most people are probably gonna agree with me anyway. Because Damwon announced Coma as their new head coach for the 2021 LCK season, which is good. I think that'll make them even better. And then, as you guys know, LS was, I guess, rumored to join T1 for their coaching staff because it was leaked by Effort in their Discord group message. And then there was the whole debacle of the T1 fans harassing LS, talking to his grandmother in a toxic way, a bunch of really bad stuff. And then the most disrespectful thing I saw today was when T1 announced their coaching staff. LS wasn't a part of it. And you know, it's a big, like, just fuck you, is they announced Zephyr again. And that's the Pivion, because some people are going to forget this. Zephyr was their coach in 2019. He stopped being their head coach around the time they lost to G2 the second time at MSI 2019 because the fans were so mad that they were losing, they kicked him off for being the head coach and they brought in Coma. What Twilight Zone am I in? What's going to be different this time? What is going to be exactly different this time?
I do want to point out, like, Zephyr had an incredibly good run with Damwon. Like, that's incredibly good.
But they dropped him for Coma.
I mean, there can be a lot said about, like, essentially, like, when you re-pick up like Dwight Howard going back on the Lakers. He was terrible for the Lakers because he didn't understand his role, and now, especially on the Rockets, because he was old and didn't really understand the progression. And then he realized what his role was, and he swapped how he played. I think the same could be said for Zephyr. He really did shift how he approached the game. Like, he had a aggressive playstyle view of it, obviously, with how he played around Clid's aggression and all that stuff, but the big problem was that a lot of the facts were that he didn't actually get coordinated dives and all that stuff. It relied, when he played in 2019, it was a lot of individual lane strengths, and then it was all on the jungler and all that stuff. It wasn't a lot of coordinated things in the early game, and they really, like, I don't want to give it fully to Zephyr, but it really seems like his approach to the game was similar, but it was an enhanced version by the 2020 season. He really did step up how he played the game. I can't hear you.
What I was trying to bring up was that they kicked him for Coma because the fans thought that Coma's drafts were better. T1, if people even come by this video, stop taking advice from Reddit or whatever T1 fans that are super crazy to the point where they're literally sending like death threats to LS's grandmother. Like, it's ridiculous. And you can tell they announced an all-Korean coaching staff was because of that situation. And they don't even talk about it. They could be like, hey, send out a tweet. Hey, to our fans out there or whoever is being super toxic towards LS, could you please back off? Like, they couldn't do that. Are you serious? Like, I don't. This is literally. Here's how it's gonna happen. I can already predict how it's gonna happen when the LCK starts next year. T1 are gonna do bad. Zephyr is gonna get kicked, and they're gonna promote the assistant coach to head coach because fans are gonna make up bullshit logic where his drafts don't make sense, even though they're not a draft specialist. So I can already see this happening because it already happened before.
Yeah, but that's
dropped somebody for Coma because they thought his drafts were better, and they brought Zephyr back when he was proven. He's proven now he can win worlds, and now they want him back. I mean,
it's true though. Like, honestly, if you look at it in the 2019 season, his approach to the game, as I said before, was absolutely not incredibly patented for how the game is supposed to be played.
He played too slow. Like,
he didn't play slow. He just played.
The players themselves were playing slow. Like, they all just played slow.
He picked a lot of either losing lanes or facilitate, like, or kind of just individually just like strong lanes, and didn't actually pick lanes that kind of coordinated around early game roams, and that's what it was. They weren't able to play as a cohesive team until mid-game power spikes, and that's the whole reason Zephyr did not actually succeed. I think that's one of the biggest reasons, because he didn't actually understand how the game was supposed to be played. That was one of the biggest problems I had with him, and I think that he's really actually taken a step to be more aggressive in terms of just how he actually drafts now. I mean, I think it all comes down to the full coaching staff. Obviously, maybe the analysts are more to do with it. Head coaching obviously isn't always the way to do it. It's more of a personality thing for the head coaching to like really make the final decisions. But he really, again, with now what he does now, instead of just picking the proper things and letting them play the game, he essentially dictates how the entire game is going to be played through the drafting phase, and you play the game there. And I think that's been the weakest point of SKT, is they kind of draft a comp and then all of their players individually play and try and make it work as a team later on down the line, which is something that I don't think works anymore in today's thing. That was Season 3, Season 4, and all those seasons to go, but now you kind of have to, it doesn't matter how strong your players are because you have to be a good team now.
This also makes sense why Coma left SKT after 2019 to go to Vici. There's just so much pressure. Like, the fans put so much pressure on the org to perform well, and they were like, we deserve an answer. No, you don't. You actually don't deserve anything. They could just do whatever they want because they're the one paying the players. That's kind of how that works. I don't get why they put so much effort into pleasing these crazy fans that, let's be honest here, if the events were we could go to events, these people wouldn't be at events anyway. They probably don't even buy merchandise.
I mean, that's probably untrue. They probably do buy merchandise. I think one thing that you have to take into account is the fact that it does go hand in hand. You don't want to lose too many fans, obviously, but I think they're putting too much... No, I get it. They're putting too much value... What?
Like, factor this in. Everybody, like, all those Sneaky fans that say, I'm not going to support Cloud9 because Sneaky's gone. There's no way to quantify that. You can't quantify that. It's probably just someone speaking out of anger in the moment, but they're going to support the org anyway. Like, all those TSM fans now, where they're like, I don't know if I want to support TSM now that Bjerg's gone. Let's be honest here, they're probably going to stay and support TSM.
I'm not trying to say anything like again. I think the big thing about it is SKT 100% understands the concept behind. You can't just say, if all the fans left again, I wouldn't care, because that's not how they approach it. I think what they are actually doing 100% is overreacting, because with the social media, it gives voices and it gives a lot of lot of backing to unpopular opinions. No matter how unpopular your opinion is, there's going to be 10 people who support your opinion. And if 10 people are supporting your opinion and all talking about it at once, it looks like there's a large majority of people who are doing it. In reality, it's 11 people at the most. And that's what I think SKT's struggling with. Like, they really think that the majority of SKT's fan base is somehow rabid, all these people, when in reality, that's kind of just who large fan bases draw in. There's a lot more of them because of how large they are. It might even be the same ratio, but the fact is that if there's 10 crazy people for every 100,000 like sane people, if you have 1 million people, there's 100 crazy people.
That's like, I actually feel like I don't know. I just feel genuinely bad for him. Like, he probably had a great opportunity to set up his future with T1, and then it was all ruined because
it's like, okay, these are insightful things.
I will give a caveat to that. He was never announced in the coaching staff.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Honestly, no.
He probably was.
I don't think so. I actually think that maybe the possibility, I want to point out...
Like an analyst?
No, because think about it. Like, Zephyr, if they can get the damn one's coaching staff, they're not going to get LS. The coaching staff... Yeah, but I'm just saying, why would they go for LS?
Why would they get Yamato Cannon then?
Well, who cares about that? I'm saying LS, if you have a choice... Damwon and Sandbox was not about to get a legendary coaching staff. Sandbox was going to get whatever they could to try and make it work. SKT had a chance at a world's coaching staff. Realistically, they probably weren't going to get LS. That was one of the options they were talking to. That's probably what happened. And it was like, if Damwon's coaching staff doesn't accept, we're going to go with LS. But honestly, at the same time, I think that there was a lot less kind of... there was a lot less, man, you guys can't... Like, there was a lot less... or more bending the knee to these people. They were letting these people kind of dictate the flow of how they kind of approached every subject. They never told anybody, no, we don't stand for this kind of stuff, and they still haven't taken that stance. They still kind of let these people...
That's why I said fuck team. Like, fuck them. That's just not cool. Like, they could put out a tweet, hey, please leave LS alone. That's all you have to say. because they know what's going on. That's why they never talk. They have not mentioned it once since all that happened. Not even once. And then they announce the coaching staff and don't even address it in the coaching staff announcement. And they bring back somebody they let go of last year. It's
I mean, no. As Zephyr 100% made up for his last year.
Yeah.
Zephyr this year, I don't agree with that stance.
What about Coach Kim though? Like, what about
Coach Kim was not nearly as but he just had really good players. Like that was just what it was. Like, honestly, what?
I that situation with Kim and the Shy. So in that Shy, so the Shy in Game 3 of the KT versus IG series in the 2018 World Championship, Coach Kim said not to pick Fiora. The Shy did. And then when they lost the game, he subbed him out just for that. I'm like, what the heck? They almost actually won the game.
You can't let him.
You can't. One auto away from winning.
You can't let a player do that. See, the thing about it is the reason they even started losing is because he changed the entire way they had to approach the game. Because instead of a tank or something in their top lane, they now have a carry Fiora who has to take over the game completely. They have to switch. No. You have to switch a complete. The draft was already picked. You have to switch the entire comp to a 1-3-1 comp. Instead of being able to team fight anymore, he straight up shouldn't have done that. I don't care what.
That I understand, but to be fair, like
it doesn't matter if they almost won. You can't let somebody have the ability to just completely ignore the coaching staff. That just negates the entire purpose of having a strategic mind to the game. Like he shouldn't have done that. He did. He should have got punished, and that's just a fact. Even if they had won, I still would have benched him. Like
I understood why the benching happened, but like you gotta understand too, the Shy wasn't wrong in his pick though. It was literally one auto attack from winning the whole series for them. To be fair, he did have a good idea about what he wanted to do.
Yeah, but the coaching staff definitely might have had a better one, just because of the fact that, again, just individual play, and he said, I'm good in this team, but, again, the team itself is not good into the team with him. And that was the big thing he didn't actually put together. I think one big problem I've had recently with the all this SKT drama, all that stuff, first of all, no actual perfect announcement. No one actually announced the fact that they were going to be getting Ellis on the team. Again, it's not a proven fact. I do want to say that I don't want to cut them too much slack because the possibility they maybe even still taking the wrong approach is trying to distance themselves from these fans. They're trying to say we don't even acknowledge these people. But at the same time, I still think at this point you can't really distance yourself because it's obviously SKT fans. I think it is slightly something they should actually acknowledge. They should say, hey, this should not be happening right now. But I don't know what to do. I think they should acknowledge it, obviously, but at the same time, I think that people are approaching SKT in a weird light where they think that it was a guaranteed shoo-in that Ellis was going to get this job, but he lost it because of this, when in reality, I genuinely don't think that's the case. I think, again...
Most likely would have just been on their coaching staff.
I don't think so. I don't even think he was going to.
Might have been on... No, because he's been very vocal about player development. You might have never even seen him, though. He probably could have just been like...
I don't think he's a good... I don't think he'd be a good
I don't know.
player
I don't
development
want
player.
to say those things because
I mean, I'm not going to say anything, but I'm just basing it off of what I've seen about him, but I'm player development requires a lot of charisma, and he just doesn't have any.
Hear that thing about that whole bus they bought just so they could drive around their headquarters to make a stance? It's like it's not that serious. Even if that's the thing though, that's how you can tell some of them are kind of racist. They just wanted a all Korean staff. That's what they wanted. They don't want a white person.
Oh, hold on. That is a very, very polarizing. It's just a not proven thing to really throw out a baseless. Again, it could be possible, but it's a very serious accusation you just threw out with really almost little to no. Again, there's a lot of pride coming into nationality and all that stuff. And if you don't succeed with your own players, it's the same way people view NA as not successful, even if they won Worlds, because they won with 2 to 3 Europeans and all this stuff. It's the same kind of concept behind that. You want to win with your own people.
I imagine the LCK is a little bit more. How would I say this word? Pride is, what's that word? Prideful? They want to be.
They've been the best for so long. They don't want to have somebody else come in from a different region and do that. There's no excuse for what they did, and I'm not trying to deny that. There's absolutely no excuse for how the fans treated.
To me, I'm not saying they are. That's how I see it from two different points. Because what if Ellis was Korean and he was still a polarizing personality? Would he still be accepted? Well, probably.
Who knows though? But you can't make an assumption like that. That is just there's literally no evidence to back that up. You're just basing it off of how you're approaching that.
What else? The going too far is the grandma thing. That's a little too far.
It is 100% too far. Again, I want to say, I think they probably wouldn't have picked up Ellis anyways because they were probably using him as a secondary. We're going to go for the coaching staff and we're going to talk to Ellis because this is how you do it. You don't just talk to one person that you want. Because then if it doesn't pan out, you no longer have to, have the ability to talk to that person. They'll probably talk to both of them. They said, hey, we might actually pick you up this year. But again, they didn't announce that they were going to because it's not a free agency thing for them. They could assign him whenever they wanted. They didn't talk to him and sign him yet because they were trying to see if their other plans fell through.
I think that Effort should be not allowed to play a few games because he did leak that. Him leaking that did cause this though.
Effort who? Effort from
Effort leaked the Discord messages about the LS thing in general. If he never leaked anything, then I feel like he should be punished for that. Honestly,
I don't think so. I think that an accident like that is something that you really can't. It was genuinely a full blown accident. He didn't just say, "Hey, everybody, look at this."
I'd bench him for a few games, not the whole season.
There's honestly, I think there's already some things talking about, hey man, you can't be doing that. Obviously, he knows what he did was wrong, and he didn't maliciously leak that out there to do anything. I don't see a reason to bench him for that. It was a very poor mistake on his part, but I think that.
Man, On Fleek said some horrible things.
Well, On Fleek is just racist. I mean, that was just racism right there. There's no excuse for that. Saying all, who says that stuff?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yikes. Dang. He's a good jungler too. It sucks that he's gonna be not playing for a little bit.
It's just a little bit of time. I mean, honestly, he deserves more time than that. That was incredibly racist what he said. But
as you know, this is what LS's manager said. What was it? Militia?
What's up, Michaela?
She has posted that on LS's Discord screenshot transcription. Hi at everyone. I am just here to give a small-ish update on LS. I am not allowed to disclose every single detail at the moment, so please bear with me here. I'm not even sure if Nick wants me to post this, but I feel as if it is extremely important to try and keep you guys somewhat aware of what's going on. Mentally, Nick is not okay. I mean, I could already tell that from Face Check and his other shows. He wasn't mentally okay. He snapped at somebody randomly on Hotline League. I wanted to actually punch him in his face, but then I knew he already kind of previously said he was depressed. So I was like, it's whatever. That's just me personally. He has been working day and night for months now with little to no sleep, and it has undoubtedly taken a toll on his health. To anyone who asks me to check up on him, we talk every single day. I try my best to make sure he is doing okay. But as of recently, with all the stuff going around, everything just heightened his emotions, and there's not much any of us can do in the current situation. We are not sure as to when Nick will come back to streaming, but we hope that you can all be patient and understand that he is not intentionally trying to miss out on stream or anything in general. He loves this community and is extremely upset that he cannot continue to do his everyday norms. His mental health needs to come first, and right now, that is 100% our main priority. Currently, if you have not noticed, LS is not looking at any of his socials, which is why he hasn't been able to personally update you himself. I am not sure when he will be able to do so, but if you have any positive messages you would like me to send his way, by all means, feel free to DM me, and I can try to show whenever I get the chance to. It means a lot. He really needs it. As I said before, I cannot give any more information at this moment. I really wish I could write more. I'm sorry if this doesn't help, but when the time is right, I'm sure LS will be transparent with you all. As always, smiley face. Thank you for reading. I hope you all have a good night. Oof, that is. He's doing bad. I know how this says. It's like he's doing really bad. This is bad. It's actually terrible. People have really ruined this man. It's crazy.
I mean, I think one of the biggest problems right now is that, I think preemptively he was already in a bad spot mentally, and just the additional things that add on. It's like when you have a bad week and then somebody comes and punches you in the face. It's like the mental, and it's like you're always mentally fatigued, and then it's the added stress on top of that. All of these things are adding up for Ellis right now, and I'm not sure what's gonna happen. I hope nothing negative comes out of this.
I hope he feels okay. People need to separate the person's work from the person. At the end of the day, it's still a human being.
You are never speaking about this. You're not going to get people to reasonably look at this, and it's just how it's going to work. Are people that are going to be like this because they don't have the empathy that we do? They're just not going to care that much, and you can't preach to them because nothing you say is going to do anything. All you can do is be there for the person that's actually suffering, because that's really the only thing that is actually a possibility to change, is the mindset of the person that's actually receiving the threats. I think LS is in a situation where he honestly just needs his space right now. He needs he needs YouTube comments in his section to say, wow, we support you and all that stuff. He seems like that type of person, and going off on people is not going to change anything. They don't even see what they're doing is wrong, and even if they do, they don't care. You saying,
Yeah,
"Wow,
that's the thing though. They are so in love with players they will never be able to talk to, nor speak to, nor interact with. They love those players that much they're willing to actually just make someone hate living. That's just like,
it's
and
not just
they don't see that as a bad thing. That's the crazy
they
part.
might. I mean, even if they do, they don't care, and that's just something
Yeah,
a lot of people acknowledge. They don't acknowledge is they're like they honestly think that them yelling at these players like, "Wow, what you guys are doing is wrong," is going to change something, and it's just completely worthless. What you're doing is not helping anything. You address the situation, and then you try and help the person. You don't attack the attackers because they don't care. Like it's been the weirdest thing is everybody's went out of their way to say, man, these guys are trash, and everybody knows they're trash. The people know they're trash, and even the person getting attacked knows that they're overreacting. But it's not about it's essentially he's getting attacked emotionally, he's getting his grandma attacked, and it's really all of these things are something that the only thing we can do is help them get through this, and it's really not. Like again, as it stands right now, there's really nothing we can do right now to help him. Like all we can do is be hopeful that he gets through this mentally.
Like Bwippo and Nemesis made twit longers, and it's like there's nothing you can really do. He'll bounce back from it. Like I remember a lot of players went through like depression phase. Reckless is one of the biggest ones to have it. You get through it. That's kind of like
I mean,
I don't people watch this going like, oh, he'll just get over it. No, that's not what I'm saying. Like in time, you will get over it.
it's not always the case. I mean, honestly, some people are not able to get over it. They deal with this for the rest of their life, and honestly, I think one of the biggest problems right now is that I think Ellis actually kind of understood that he was sad, but didn't understand the reason why he was sad, so he never actually went out. What's up? I can't hear you.
Oh, if you wait, hold on.
No, you're good now. Yeah.
Like you could kind of tell though, like in any show he was on, like whether it be Face Check, Hotline League, or like any other show, you could tell he was depressed. It was in his voice. I could tell it because I've been through it myself. Like he was literally talking so cryptic. I was like, this man is not mentally there because this man's going. You about to go nuts. He was, from what I saw, like by what I like his body language, he was like literally one bad thing said wrong from actually probably punching somebody because it was getting to him that much.
Yeah, I think one of the big things is people actually like one actually big problem right now is that people actually understand think that they have to have a reason to be sad, and that's why people don't know how to approach it. You see these people who actually just kind of over exaggerate and kind of make stuff up sometimes about what's sad about their life because they're sad and they actually think, and then but if they tell people they're sad, they're gonna ask why, and they just like with today's society, there's no way to actually get help with that unless there's like a tragic backstory to it. They'll make stuff up, and then people if they say, man, my car got wrecked, and somebody helps you pay for that car, and that's not actually why you were sad, you have this problem fixed, but you no longer have somebody that's willing to help you because they fixed a problem. They think that they fixed what's going on with you, and I think that's one of the biggest problem with the LS, because honestly I think sometimes he's just sad for maybe he doesn't 100% have a valid reason, and you think that's a big enough reason as to because some people just suffer from depression. It's just it's a chemical imbalance inside of the body. They suffer from this, and maybe that's honestly the reason why he's not able to look maybe he's not able to look for help or something. That's what's making it hard for him. Maybe he doesn't know how to get past this. What's up? I can't hear you.
People. Wait, is it better now?
No, you're good.
He seems to be like someone who. How would I say this? He seems to be like a person where if he says something and people take it the wrong way, he feels bad they took it the wrong way. He feels like he's saying the right thing, but the average people gotta understand this for League. There's stupid people. People actually think on Reddit they're smarter than people who are analysts, which is just not true because they're hired, they have a job in the field, and you don't.
I mean, I don't want to say that's always 100% reason why somebody's smarter. It just means that they had the connection sometimes, but I mean, I think for the most part, most analysts are smarter than most Reddit people, and that's just a fact.
I'll understand this. It's like having a car and someone rides a bike. Obviously, one's doing better than the other just by the eye test alone.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say that somebody's smarter just because they're an analyst, because not all analysts are smarter than every single person on Reddit. It's just not true. Honestly, probably the smartest person about League is probably somebody that's from Reddit, but they don't have that they have the numbers and all that stuff.
Zix was hired from Reddit.
Yeah, I'm just saying, it's numbers and all that stuff. They can put all this stuff together, but they can't cohesively put it into words. They understand the game.
He seems like his backstory. Like I watched, it, I was like, that's pretty sad. Like he had a rough for LS. Actually, they put out his backstory on like the score.
It's a lot of. I mean, honestly, I don't know a lot about LS. I'm not trying to say that he doesn't have a lot of things to be sad, but again,
I think the problem with LS is like fans got mad because he's a polarizing personality. Like he'll say the thing that triggers people, but deep down people know it's true. Like what he says sometimes actually is true. Like when he predicted that G2 was gonna BTL the second time around because he felt like G2 threw. People were like, "No, you're a hater." And it's like no, in his opinion, he thinks G2 threw, or like he'll make some weird predictions or say certain things, and he'll say something that'll trigger people, but he's not wrong. It's like the way he's saying it triggers people. He's just very blunt. He'll be like, "Well, North America sucks. EU's not as good as." He'll be like, "EU's not as good as you're making him out to be." And he'll give legitimate reasons why.
But the problem is he's unable to properly convey stuff like in a proper manner. Like he sometimes acts like a child and just attacks things like with just full on emotions. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest problems. It doesn't matter if it's not wrong. He has to portray things better. He doesn't always fully give a reason as to why things are bad. Sometimes he brings up valid points, but at the same time, you don't have to say, "Man, this is literally the worst thing, and I've literally never seen anybody this trash. Why are you even playing the game?" Because it goes too far sometimes. He needs to acknowledge that because it's an immaturity thing on that aspect when he goes to that extent. It's literally just there for an entertainment value, and I think that's one of the biggest problems I've always had with him. Sometimes he just tries his best to put on this persona of somebody who's aggressive and just blunt and all this stuff, when in reality, he's just being a jerk. Like, there's a difference. You can say these things without being mean.
They're true. Like, some of these teams draft bad. Some of these teams that everybody praises are bad.
No one denies what he says is true.
But the problem, like, what he's saying, he kind of conveys it like a complete dick.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, honestly, like, again, I want to say, like, regardless of what I think of Ellis as a person, I think that suffering from being sad without actually being able to having a really way to cope with it is one of the hardest things in life. That's just being depressed and having no one around you to really solve that for you is one of the hardest things. Someone acknowledging, like, I feel like to an extent he suffered through a lot of his early life that it's been really hard for him to kind of bring himself back from that brink. And a lot of these things are adding on to the turmoil that he's had building up throughout his entire life. He essentially, like, I just feel like he's never resolved some of his past issues, and like them attacking him is just something, like, honestly, if they'd done it to like most other people, I think they would have brushed it off, but he's had it rough like throughout most of his life. That's just a fact. And I don't know, man. Like, I feel bad for him, but I don't really think there's anything I can do.
They would have just taken it as just crazy Reddit people doing something, and like they would have just told their grandma, "Hey, just turn off your phone notifications," because that's kind of pretty much maybe all it was. Just turn off your notification on your phone. But he himself was so sad he probably couldn't even convey, "Hey, my issues are now turning into hurting someone else." That probably is what really broke him. My issues are hurting somebody else, and that probably was like, "Oh."
It's hurting the only person that has ever been there for him, like, with him through this entire life. Like, his grandma was like, again, his parents didn't want anything to do with him for the most part for his childhood, and the grandma was the one that was willing to take him in and all that stuff. And them willing to attack them just because of what he's willing to do is just something obviously that.
You gotta factor in this. You're attacking someone's grandma over a PC game.
Dude, you're not gonna convince them anything. Stop going after this approach. It's not gonna do anything. They don't care. They don't care at all.
I hope you feel better. Get help. Honestly, don't try to assume you don't have anything wrong with you, and you probably don't have anything wrong with you per se. You just need to talk to somebody, and I think a lot of people just need someone to talk to, and you'll feel better, and you can work on your issues.
I think
when you work on your issues by talking about them, people just aren't open with that, and I think that could be a good starting point.
I mean, it could be a starting point, but everybody has their own. Like, again, there are some people who are just depressed because that's just how their body is functioning at that point in time. There's no amount of talking about it can do anything. It can really just kind of lay over, kind of bring you to the next point in a healthy way, but it can't really fix you. When I think that sometimes you actually have to take medicine, sometimes there's a lot of other things you have to do to be able to get in a better shape. And I'm not a psychiatrist. Like, this is really my own anecdotal evidence or anecdotal experiences that I can really bring to the table to say, like, one of the few things, again, sometimes you don't know why you're sad, but you have to make stuff up because you want somebody to help you. They help that problem that you've been struggling, like you told them they had, and they're no longer going to help you because they think they fixed it, and you're still struggling with the sadness, but there's no one there to help you anymore, and that's something maybe is the problem with him. I don't know. I just can only go off me. I can't hear you.
Oh wait,
No, you're good.
I hope you feel better, LS. But it's time to go on to the other big things that happened. So, which one's bigger? Holy crap! So, what did you feel about Power of Evil joining TSM?
Power of Evil joining TSM was one of the biggest ones. It's maybe the
That's crazy.
second to third biggest one of the NA announcements so far.
They dropped Beardson retired, and now you have the second or first best mid laner, depending on how you look at it.
I'm just talking purely about pickups. There's three major pickups right now. It is going to be obviously the Alphari one, the Perks one, and the Power of Evil one. Those are the three big pickups so far this year. They're all European, which is kind of unfortunate. I wish there had been a big NA pickup this year, but there's none of those.
Lick is, but you got to find a buyout for him.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I really Fudge is just not better than Licorice. I think that
I don't want to put things like that. Cause
he has potential. I'm not trying to say anything, but as it stands,
get brought up with Cloud9 players.
All I'm saying is he's as it stands right now. His
definitely.
previous play has never been as good as what Licorice has really put on display so far. Besides Licorice's most recent performances in Summer Split, Licorice has been the best, maybe the best top laner since he's joined the league. In the league. And that's just an incredibly good place to be in for somebody who's built up talent. The reason they're doing this, obviously, I think is a financial issue at this point. They have somebody who's only a slight downgrade, but is tremendously less expensive. And they're trying to make money at this point. And I think Fudge still is the single best laner inside of the whole academy scene. He was the best player inside of the academy scene. He was the best laner all around.
Player like that. Licorice was like that too. He was really good, but he had no sense of awareness on the map. If you show a player like that sense of awareness on the map, I think he'll be pretty good. Because this gets brought up with every single time Cloud9 does this. So it's like, do they have a proven track record where they bring a new player in and they're good for just when they're on Cloud9, like Contracts, Jensen, Zazel, Sneaky, all these players. Like I feel like they have a proven track record enough to the point where I can trust them as a fan. I've been watching for a very long time. I can see that they are going to make the right decision. But the problem here is he going to be a Licorice 2.0, or is he going to be? Do you think he'll potentially fix issues that Licorice couldn't? Because the problem with Licorice is weak side was not his thing.
What? He was one of the best. He was good at weak side too.
But he was.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's like certain things Licorice couldn't do, maybe Fudge can do.
I don't know anything that Licorice couldn't do besides he wasn't as good internationally.
That's the thing, though. Maybe he's just the exact same player.
Just worse? Like, so far right now, I think Fudge has potential. I'm going to say, if you had to pick, it's not like they're getting, like a Zion Spartan. They're getting a legitimately good player still. And that's something I've seen out of Fudge. I still think he's a solid player. But, as it stands right now, I've never seen anything as good as what Licorice has put on display. This is really just, in my opinion, a money thing at this point. Or maybe he's playing better in scrims, because I can't see what's going on behind the scenes. Licorice,
money thing, it could be like
there's many different things.
Maybe he suits better well. Licorice did everything correct. He fought good. He laned well.
It's just recency. Licorice was bad, and that's what happened in the Summer Split.
That's the thing. He could be on a downward trajectory, and they see that already. But
it's possible. We don't know what's going on in the backside. I just think with the information I can see right now, I just think it was a bad call to get rid of him because he get.
I think it was a bad call to announce that they were going to keep their roster together. That was like.
I don't care about any of that. I'm just saying getting rid of Licorice is just, as it stands with the information I can see right now, what's available to me. I think it's a bad call to get rid of Licorice, unless it's just purely a financial situation, which is fair enough. It is a money-driven aspect game. Like, this is the reason teams are built. So I can't really get mad at them for that. But as it stands, I'm not going to approve of this until I see some sort of, like a success in terms of just international presence.
I mean, C9 has notoriously put up new players, and they've done well, so hopefully he'll be the next one in for that. Perks joining Cloud9. That is, woo!
That team, second best to first best, I think there's without a doubt in the league.
So the rumor with Niski is that he could be playing on any team now. Like, people said rumor Fnatic. That sounds like a complete downgrade to a certain extent. Not necessarily. It's like a side grade to Nemesis. He should just. I don't know about Niski. I would say Perks joining Cloud9 that's
Okay, so if I had to rank the teams based off rosters right now, Cloud9 is shooting up to second place at the very least. Like, they're without a doubt in contention for that first place spot. But, again, I think the versatility that Team Liquid brings to the table still makes them a better team than them. They still have an all-around better team. They have a better top laner. They have a better... I don't know about jungler. They have a better...
Basic coin player. I think you still would go with Santorin, though. Santorin proved at Worlds he's not terrible still.
Yeah. So. And then the bot lane is substantially... you know what? I won't say substantially, because I think Sven is very much better than Tactical still. So,
but then you also have Core JJ's better than Vulcan.
Vulcan... Vulcan is really good, though. Vulcan is a really good player.
That's the thing, about the Cloud9 roster. If this is the Cloud9 roster, Cloud9 have a good roster.
They have a really good roster. Really good. I've been hyped... Vulcan's been good for, like, 3 years.
I think Perkz is the player they've always needed, though. Because, like, if they want a leader, Perkz is, like, your picture-perfect mid laner. Because even looking back at High, from when they had High on their roster years ago, they, like... I think Cloud9 benefit from having a leader out of the game and in the game, and I think Perkz will be that perfect mesh up.
Well,
and he's also not a bad mid laner, though. He's actually pretty good. When he's actually on, he's at least top 3, top 4 when he's on.
In NA, he's probably going to be number 1 for most of the year.
Let's say, like, well, yeah, Jensen and Power Vivo, so he'll be a top 3 contention for sure.
I think he's probably the best one out of the 3.
I don't know if he's better than Jensen, though.
He's definitely better than Jensen. I think the ones that Power Vivo has highs, and that's.
But the reason why I would say that is because he hasn't played mid lane.
He played Spring again. His Spring was underwhelming last year. I do want to point that out.
That's what I'm bringing up. Though. That's why Jensen and Power Vivo would probably be better for a little.
But the problem is that when it came to the playoffs, he actually 100% turned it on. His Rumble play inside of the Mad Lion series, not the first one, not the second one. He played Rumble twice. The first.
Amazing.
Yeah, he's not bad. He's still a really good player, and honestly, I think Jensen, it's really hard for me to rate Jensen above him because I think that Jensen was never as good as Prime Perkz. No. And that's the one thing that it kind of makes it hard for me, whether or not, if Perkz goes back to form, I think he's obviously the number 1 in the league. I think that he's still only 21 years old, so he's a really young player all around. I mean, I think that Power of Evil is a really good player, so it's going to be these top 3 teams. Then we see Jukesay coming back in. He shoots up to the best NA player of all time, and then he's just worthless the next week. Like, I hope Jukesay plays again, but I don't think he will.
So this one's going to be weird, because I know someone's going to watch this. So CLG's roster, I'm actually going to talk to someone from CLG who will probably end up explaining to me why they make these roster decisions. So CLG's roster is Finn, Broxa, Pobelter, Deathly, and Smoothie. Now, the eye test says that's a bad team. That is probably on a good day, that could be like a middle-of-the-pack team. Let's be honest here. Be a middle-of-the-pack team. It doesn't look as bad as people are making out to be. I think people are kind of overreacting.
What team?
For CLG's new...
No, that's a 10th place team.
I don't know, man. It doesn't look like it would be.
And Finn, they have Broxa. Broxa was the worst jungler in the league. Finn was one of the worst top laners in EU. We have the mid laner, who's Pobelter, who was pretty decent. Smoothie, who was probably one of the worst supports in the league. And we have Deathly, who was literally kicked out of the league for being so bad. You have one above-average player, and Pobelter doesn't consistently play above average. He's not even a top 3 mid laner, so you don't have anybody in the top 4 to 5.
I just need the rest of the rosters, because it's really hard to judge them. But from the eye test, for me, it looks like their peak is like 7th place. It looks like a middle-of-the-pack team.
7th place as a peak is garbage. That's a low-tier team.
I know. People are calling them 10th, and it's like we haven't even seen the rest of the roster.
I mean, I can base that off. This is worse than any roster that we saw this year.
This looks better than their last year roster.
No, it doesn't. It looks substantially worse.
I don't know, because that last year roster was pretty bad.
I mean, equalized junglers, they were both terrible last year. We have top lane, I think Rune and Finn. I'd give the edge to Finn.
Rune and Finn.
Yeah. I think we have mid laners. We have Pobelter and Pobelter. So, I mean, what do you say about that?
Pobelter Crown, right? Oh, yeah. Well, Pobelter definitely won.
Yeah. And then we got Stixay versus Deathly. I think Stixay is probably better, to be honest.
I don't know, man. No, Stixay, he hasn't been good for a long time.
Stixay's better than Deathly. That's just...
I'm glad they're moving on. They've had Stixay for a very long time.
Yeah, but the Deathly is not a move on. They're going to another long-term player.
They should have probably got Johnson. Honestly,
no way they get Johnson. No way they get Johnson. They're not investing that much.
Cody's son would have been an upgrade. I'm just saying.
Cody's son, I mean, there's no reason to invest any money at this point if it's obviously just here as a placeholder. This is literally a purposefully bad team, and it's obvious. This is a team they want to invest no money into.
I'll see from everything I know so far. It's like the bottom teams get like the scraps when the top teams kind of.
There's no scraps though. There was good players left over in the academy scene that are substantially better looking than the players. We got, what's his name? We got Palafox, who 100% looks incredible inside of the academy scene. We got, like, honestly, there's so many good players inside of the academy scene that I could have seen, and not even just that. Like, there's not a mass man, obviously. We got we got the whole scouting grounds. Like, that new jungler that's in the scouting grounds just looked absolutely insane to me.
Kenvi?
No, it's 3 letters.
Oh, yeah. I forgot his name.
Literally, no, not that. But, like, he has a 3-letter name with an X. Absolutely insane to me. Like, he's been one of the best performing players I've seen inside of the academy, the scouting ground since I've seen it. He's popped off every single game. He's played a lot of different champions. His Lee Sin in the last game was good. Like, all around, there were some good players that I think... For the most part, I usually argue about bringing up talent just to bring up talent, but there's legitimately good players that I'm seeing being passed on right now for proven unworthy talent. Like honestly, as much as I love Broxa, there's no reason for Finn to be brought in as an import. That's literally one of the craziest things. Like, you literally have all these people talking about how Finn is terrible at Worlds, and then you're like, you know what? We need to import somebody, so let's pick the only person that was absolutely trashed on by the international people inside to our team and bring him in as an import. Like, Finn showed potential. I think he could bounce back. I really think with the lower level of competition inside of the top lane in NA, there's just a lot more room for him to grow. Actually, not even that much lower. Like, honestly, one of the EU's weakest roles is top lane. So we'll see if that actually matters. But like, it's hard for me to say. I think that it's really, I'm not sure if this is like what this team is supposed to be. Like, I don't know what they're doing. Like, there's no logical decisions here.
Ooh. I think if you're looking at the NA roster so far, this the highest peak for the roster doesn't look good. Like, that's why I said 7th place. That's why
7th place is a highest peak, and honestly, I expect 10th. I expect 10th, unless literally Finn bounces back to what I think his 2019 form was. We see a lot of...
I was factoring in if, like, all the players are playing on all full cylinders at their peaks, their decent peaks.
At their peaks, I mean, they have a pretty solid... Like, definitely, at one point in time, was, like, a top 3 ADC in the league on the worst team...
That's why I said, like, you know, if they're playing on a good day decently, it seems like a middle of the pack team at best.
If we're talking about highest they've ever been, this is a top 5 team, top 4, if we're talking about best they've ever played in their lives. But we're talking about recency, and we're talking about how these people have played for the past few years, and I expect nothing from this team. And if if all these people actually step it up, I will take everything back I've said, but there's just been no evidence to show that this is going to be a decent team.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
what else was on the talking point? Oh, Yamato Cannon will be Fnatic's head coach.
I don't care. I mean, I don't care about Yamato Cannon's coaching position stuff. It just doesn't impress me.
So, I don't know. Did Mithy really warrant his position being taken? I don't think so. Like, he did really well in his first year of being head coach. He got the team to 2nd place, back-to-back split, and they took Top Esports to 5 games. That's a pretty...
I want to point out, the reason they took Top Esports to 5 games in the first 3 games was because of the fact that they outdrafted Top Esports 2 straight games. 2 straight games they outdrafted Top Esports. Then they tried to draft Standard against them for the last 3 games and tried to resort back to, like, kind of more of what they were trying to do in the first game by the 5th game. But reality is, like, at that point in time, it was too late. They got all their motivation back. They should have stuck with what they were doing. There was really, really good drafting decisions in the first 2 games for Fnatic, and I want to point that out. There's really what drove it home. They played hyper-aggressive in the early game, and they were able to build comps that are able to roam around their map effectively. Like, and it would always made the Top Esports have to respond, like, react, and that's what was good about that. And I think that one thing I want to say is I think the coaching staff was one of the biggest strong suits of this team, because it wasn't individual skill levels that made Fnatic shine. They were individually worse than their opponents in Top Esports in all around the board. Like, in my opinion, every single one of them was worse than their counterpart. Like, besides support. Support was definitely in favor of Fnatic. But, like, all around, every single position was in favor of the enemy team, and yet they took him to 5 games. Like that's really only has to do with their approach to the game and their coaching staff.
Mithy warranted anything to really get like his position removed. I think it's just like they just want to try something different, which could be the case.
Just trying stuff different is always the stupidest decision ever. You don't just do it because, especially with
I just don't
success.
think he needed, but just like in their case, I just don't think he needed to have his head coaching position removed. He actually did. He overperformed to expectations in general. Looking just how he performed.
I mean, that team just genuinely is not built that well. Like, we had a pretty mediocre mid laner, a top laner who's just rarely playing well.
Salmon.
Yeah, and on top of the fact he never played well against any of the actual international competition, we had a support who literally only showed up to half the games this season. He sometimes, like, honestly, there was games where he legitimately looked like he really didn't want to be there so bad that he ran into the enemy team to end the game faster. Like,
this game I watched from him, remember there was the G2 game in spring where he Nautilus hooked everything he possibly could?
He's actually somehow worse at Nautilus than he is at Thresh, and Thresh is squishier. Obviously, Thresh is a more dynamic kid, but, like, you're playing the same way, the way that Hylissang plays him. Why are you playing a squishier champion better than you're playing a tankier one? Like, maybe it's because Nautilus has to go in there and he can't really do all this stuff, but, like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Fnatic made a big. It's not a big mistake. It's like I think the change to put out Mithy for Yamato isn't warranted based on Mithy's first year of being a head coach. First year as a head coach, he got top 8 at Worlds. They almost made top 4, second place at LEC both times. And to be fair, their Fnatic looked pretty bad in the summer split, and they turned it around. It's like. Should he really be kicked? I don't know. That sounds kind of stupid. And like, what if Yamato can do? Go to like Korea and lose on Sandbox consistently? That just doesn't seem worth it to me, honestly. It just seems like a move where they just want to try something different. But that's just like I'm all for trying something different when it's not, when it's just going to the shit. Like it wasn't bad. He overperformed for his first year as a head coach. He literally overperformed by expectations, and people gotta factor in. Like, Fnatic were horrible in Summer Split. They turned it around. Well, it was off a tiebreaker. No, they beat SK Gaming in a meaningless game, and then I forgot. Yeah, I know how it went. Freak, yeah. I don't really see that as a reason to kick him. What else happened?
We could talk about the new state of the... What's up? We could
TSM
talk about the state of the new season.
I don't...
Oh, I love it. Oh my god, this is my favorite season ever.
I don't hate it, I don't hate it. I hate how the shop looks. I think the shop did.
It's different, and that's why it's hard. But I want to point out this has been my favorite preseason the entire season right now. I think the state of the ones that are in bad shape right now are tank supports. I don't know if you want to talk about the state of the season right now. Do you want to do that?
The season, I played a lot of games so far. The preseason. The game feels slower because the items cost more.
No. Think about this right now. Like, AC, like, just think about how strong these mythic items are, and they're so dynamic, they're so fun. Like, I've had so much fun with them. One thing I want to point out is the fact that on-hit characters are absolutely busted right now. Kog'Maw, Kayle, Vayne, all of them are just absolutely atrociously terrible in terms of state. They're so strong. Kayle takes over the game instantly, and you can't come back. I saw somebody build incredibly wrong first 2 items, and she's like, oh, this isn't what I'm supposed to build now. She built 1 item. She built the wrong mythic, too. She built 1 more item. Like, honestly, again, she built, like, a Nashor's to catch back up, and she instantly became impossible to get. Like, all the items are overpowered on hits. I think one thing it is, like, obviously, the state of the items right now are unbalanced. And I think that dragon stacking is still terrible. I think dragons have been in a bad shape for 2 years now. I hate that. I hate dragons. They essentially force you to play the game the same way every single time, even if you aren't really...
Either you lose gracefully or you stack dragons and you get all of them.
You have to go for dragons, and it really forces all action to be centralized around the bot side. Even if you get rift, early game, like, you really essentially... Those rifts only matter for the first 2 dragons. Once it gets to the 3rd dragon, rifts are less valuable after that. Like, you have to get those first 2 rifts. You could trade off the first 2 dragon gold to be able to do that, to get the gold leads so they can't contest the dragons, but, like it's still fun, like, essentially the same way. That's how dragons work. They're really terribly designed. I like the souls, but I hate how overbearingly powerful Elder Dragon is. Like it's an instant. It's a win con that's instantaneous. You can't win anymore. But I think that right now with mythics, on hit items are absolutely like disgusting. There's every single one of the assassin items is completely busted. Every single one of them right now.
That's why I've seen a lot of Akali assassins are bad.
Well, she's an AP assassin. She's just busted because her kid is like really good, and AP items specifically like Hextech Proto Belt is just really bonkers right now. It's just like another.
I checked what they removed too. They removed Static Shiv, Leandry.
Leandry is still in the game. It is a mythic now.
Acting's Holy Grail. They should have removed that ages ago. No one builds that item. No.
I built it. I mean, I think
really that item's useless.
No, it's really good on characters that heal, dude. I promise. But I think one of the big things I like about like the state of the game right now is the fact that there's so much versatility in the kits right now. I haven't really played a game where I built the same. It's always different. Tank supports are terrible right now because there's not an actually good mythic tank support item. There's just none. There's none. Locket is not that good in comparison to the rest of them.
Spicing up the game, like the game might actually. I thought the game was gonna be slower. Like all the new items are they cost a lot more money. It genuinely is harder to build an item because it costs a little more now.
The problem is those items finished, you're instantaneously 2 champions in comparison to what you were before the item was finished. Like you doubled the effectiveness now. Like one thing I like is the versatility in picks, but again, I'm not going to complain about how unbalanced items are because that's just how the game is going to be. Like another thing, if you don't know this, is that the ranked system changes that actually are in effect now. You no longer have promos. You don't.
Thank
God.
So
what happens is essentially the only promos are like from going to plat to diamond, gold to silver. I mean, silver to gold, gold to plat. Like all these things. It is essentially just promos into the next division. But at the same time, if you lose, like if you're at 0 LP and you lose a game, you're instantaneously in the previous division. It demotes you instantly. But you don't have to.
So none of these like 20 tries and you're not demoted.
Yeah, you don't do that anymore. And I had somebody try and tell me that didn't exist before, and it was 2 games in a row, and that's why this isn't much different. And I said, no, you could literally lose 5 to 6 games in a row at 0 LP and be at a 49% win rate and still be in that elo. Like, I think both of these changes, I don't know if it's going to be positive, maybe it inflates the ranks, but at the same time, I feel like I want to see if the reflective you demote instantaneously makes a difference also, because a lot of people get to 0 LP and get cushioned by 2 to 3 losses in a row and then are able to start winning again. Like, all around, I think that the rank system as it stands right now, they're making a lot of good changes, at the very least in the proper direction to be able to change the game for the better. I think the ranks might be inflated, though. That's one big problem I have with it, though. What?
Game so far, I think this is actually a good thing for the game to have new fresh items, new sub-fresh items, like mythic items to give the game more... I don't know. Like, the items have been kind of stale for a little bit. Most people's builds...
Identical. Maybe you throw in, like, a QSS instead of, like, a Bloodthirster sometimes on, like, Jinx.
And then that's considered, what's that word? Diversity? Yeah, that's considered being specialist. Maybe you build Nashor's Tooth first on, like, Orianna. Yeah, like, I'm glad we have different items now, and they're also different. Like no one's even kind of went through all of them. Yeah,
there's
they removed Static Shiv, Hextech GLP, Iceborne Gauntlet. So Ezreal's
GLP is actually technically an item still. Like there's an item that does essentially what it does, but it's
Iceborne Gauntlet. Freaking Ezreal's trash.
Iceborne Gauntlet. Again, all of these items are in the game, but in different names now. Like Ezreal's actually I'm not sure if he's busted or not. I feel like he is, because of the fact that he always takes advantage of AP items, so I'm just sure the combination that makes him busted hasn't been figured out yet. But one thing I like about this, obviously, is just look at KO right now. There are 3 different builds that make her disgustingly OP. Full AP.
Oh.
What?
Adaptive Helm is gone, right? Or is it different?
Adaptive Helm is out of the game. I don't think I've seen that anywhere.
Sunfire Cape is gone.
Sunfire Cape is a mythic now. It is called Aegis something. It builds out of...
I'll give Riot this credit. There was that one useless item no one cared for. The Spellbinder one that looked like lightning. And,
I love that.
Really?
Especially, like, 2 places it's good on. It's good on Eve, and it's good on Earth. It was, like, the most busted. Like, you just built one Death Cap and then 5 Eye Spellbinders on Earth, and the movement speed stacked. But like just think about like the jungle right now. Jungle items don't exist anymore essentially. So what happens? No, they do exist, but essentially what you do is you smite 5 times. Once you smite for the 5th time, it disappears out of your inventory, and it just counts as you having the upgraded smite without it taking a slot anymore. Another one is you getting an item that actually holds pink wards in it. At level 13, you upgrade it, and you can place 1 extra ward and 1 extra control ward. That's another thing I really enjoy about the game. Like I think all as it stands, they took a really good step in the right direction for this season. Just a lot of items are overtuned, so it just seems unbearably fun right now.
Because these are new items, people have to figure out why they're broken. Because like people kind of figured out why every single older item, people figured out why it was broken, and like it spent like a day.
Yeah, I mean,
like there's so many new items now. It's gonna be a little bit of time for people get adjusted to mythic items, the other basic new items now. There
are a few items that are instantaneously, I know this item is broken, and that's Eclipse, which gives you auto attack. That gives you
right?
What?
Is that's the one for the ADCs, right?
No, it's for assassins and graves. Essentially what it is, you auto attack 8% maximum HP with lethality on top of it. It gives you a shield on that also. And it gives you, like, with additional on hit, not just purely the 8% max HP. And it's just absolutely just disgusting. Like that is a broken item. I think Duskblade actually makes Kha'Zix unbearably unfun to play against. There's so many good items.
People have been picking Kha'Zix more.
That Kha'Zix is busted, dude.
Kha'Zix, I don't know. People keep picking Cho'Gath more.
You have to nerf the items because Kha'Zix is good on 6 different assassin item starters.
Oh, we had a guy pick Warwick in one of the games. Oh my god, even Warwick is strong with some of those assassin items. He does so much damage early on, and he can fear you. Oh lord. But that's pretty much it. Anything else you want to say?
I mean, I got nothing else to say. This has been really the only approach that I've had. I think the LS thing is sad. I think the preseason's really fun, and I think a lot of the roster changes that we've seen have been really exciting. Even the CLG one excited me when I saw it. I'm like, how bad can this team possibly be? Can this be the worst team we've ever seen? And it can't, because Billy Boss existed.
Someone showed me. Someone actually showed me other leaked rosters. I don't know if this is true. DM this to me.
Let me hear.
These ones look weird. I was like, all right, so projected for 2021 for 100 Thieves is Someday Closer, Palafox, FBI, Huhi.
Say it again?
Someday, for 100 Thieves, Someday Closer, Palafox, FBI, and Huhi.
That is literally contending for 3rd place roster right there. Maybe even 1st place if they pop it off. I think Johnson might be the best ADC in the league. I mean, FBI might be the best ADC in the league. I think that Huhi was probably the 2nd best support last season. Besides maybe Vulcan, actually.
The TSM roster depends on if TSM will get Licorice or Impact, but if it could be either Licorice, Impact, Spica, Power Vivo, Double if Ignar.
Both of them make sense. I think that I heard Ignar.
Impact might be better for them because of the low econ.
Well, I mean, Licorice is also low econ and he's good at it. I mean, he also has the ability to play carries. Is the reason that he's just all around a better player than Licorice. I mean, Impact. But Impact is still a really good choice for this team. It should be one of the two. I think there's really no other solid options for a team that
Dignitas one might be 10th place.
What is it?
So you have no top laner yet. Dardoch, no mid yet. Asta, Afromu.
Yeah, that's over. That's over for that team.
That's already... No wonder why Johnson wants to leave.
I really wish...
Johnson is rumored to go to EG, so it'd be like Huni, Svenskeren, potentially Nemesis, Johnson, and Diamond.
Diamond is... I want to know how good Diamond is, because I've heard nothing but hype coming out of him.
But that 100 Thieves roster looks like they're contending 3rd or 4th place.
Another support that needs to be picked up is Joey, from like years ago.
Oh,
he's still destroying it in the academy, and he's been doing it every season. But
Joey's not a bad player. I think Joey's good.
Yeah, he hasn't been picked up, and I don't know really what it is. Maybe he's just a bad teammate.
Well,
got it. Is that it?
See you guys later. Like, comment, subscribe. Most of all, enjoy. Oh, yes. So I want to tackle this thing before we head out. So I allow all comments on my YouTube. I don't do anything with that. YouTube has been doing that. I'm gonna tweet at them and hopefully they say something, but I'm not turning off comments because of criticism. And if it's disrespectful, I just ban you anyway. But no one's really done that except for like 2 people, and I've already banned them. But I don't turn off comments. I've not turned off comments. YouTube is doing it themselves. I literally went into the settings and fixed it. And I'm like, wait a minute, I've always had it this way. guys, it's literally just YouTube. I am not doing anything. Go comment, freely comment if you want to on any video. Hopefully this one lets you comment because YouTube is just sometimes a piece of garbage. But just want to tell you guys that even he said YouTube turned off his comment section and he's not said anything either.
Yeah, I mean, it naturally did it. I had to go in there and change it because there was 0 comments and it said comments not allowed. It's the one thing it might actually be is that it actually started doing naturally made for kids. If you have to check that mark, and made for kids instantly turns the comments off.
Oh yeah, freaking hell!
It might be what it is.
All these changes, but that's it. See you guys later. On Monday, Evil Geniuses will have that free agency show on their Twitch channel. So we're gonna get where these players are going on Monday. On Monday, I'm gonna be putting out so many videos when I get all that news. You might see like 5 videos in your notification, like notifying instantly, because that free agency show last year, where I have all those highest view videos, it came from that show. This year it's gonna be on Twitch, so Jacob Wolf will be on Twitch with all those wolf bombs about where the players are going. So we'll know where a bulk of these players are going on Monday. So on Mondays, the free agency show on Twitch, on Evil Genius's Twitch channel. Just letting you guys know that if you didn't actually, because they announced that it was getting canceled this year, and today they announced it's not. It'll just be on Evil Genius's Twitch channel. So yeah, can't wait till Monday to figure out where these players are going. I want to figure out where Nemesis is going because we know he's not going to be on Fnatic. It's pretty much a given. He's not going to be there. But that's it. See you guys later. Like, comment, subscribe. Most of all, enjoy. Nightwing and Mr. Who are you? Do you have a name?
I'm James.
To James is. We're signing out. Peace. Yo, it's the Nightwing. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video that you guys just watched. And if you did enjoy it, make sure you leave a like and a comment down below. And if you never want to miss out on a single upload, make sure you hit the notification bell. That way you get notified whenever I post a video. Thank you guys for the continued support, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.